And we're back. All right. One viewer resubscribed while I was away. Thank you. Um,
in real life. Period. The first day we said, okay, we're starting.
that crackling is just because I don't know why that happens, but it's not the footage. They'll go away in a bit.
Emma Bell was the very
There it's
first
gone.
person to audition for Frozen. Not the first person just for Parker, but period. The first day we said, okay, we're starting casting today. She walked through the door. She was the first one on the call sheet, and she got the part. She's just naturally a pretty girl, and how does that ever happen in real life? When she got off.
I feel like I need to slow it down even more.
In real life, when she.
So here's what I'm. So here's two things. First of all, I'm moving this because I feel like a. Oh shit! Because I feel like a static would work well there.
Real life, when she. In real life.
If you wanna know paradise.
Life, when she got. When she. When she. When she. When she. When she. When she. When she got off the. When she got off the chair, I remember.
Okay, so the information that I want from here is the same slow fade, so I copy it, but I wanted the whole thing slower. Did I not say that? So I stretched the whole thing out to a point where I think, like, okay, this will be ridiculously so. It'll be kind of funny. And then as long as I cut it to the same length, which I know it's the same length, then I can just copy, or sorry, I already copied it before. I don't want to copy this. Paste attributes, opacity, and there you go. The opacity is exactly the same. Boo! What? Sorry? You feel like Yorgos Lanthimos could do a decent based on what? What are you talking about? Crimes underscore. He could do a decent Holy Mountain remake? What are you He makes I That's the guy that directed Dogtooth, right? There's nothing about Dogtooth or what's the new one that I really liked? The Lobster. There's nothing about those movies. Lanthimos. Yeah, it's the same guy. There's no way he could do a Holy Mountain remake. What was that? The Holy Mountain has so much more to it than just being like weird and quirky. There's no way he could do a decent Holy Mountain remake. It's not. No. I could also say that, like, nobody could, but I mean, there's nothing about his films in particular, especially, that make me feel like he could pull off the Holy Mountain at all. Um, a spiritual sequel. Well, people try to make shit like that all the time. So, like, Holy Motors was one of them. which I really didn't like. The first like 25 minutes of it were great, but everything after that point was so fucking lazy and bullshitty. Ugh. If I was forced to choose who would do a Holy Mountain remake, fucking. Ugh. Well, my two favorite directors direct very different films than Hodorowski. Um, Hodorowski might be my third favorite director. So I don't know.
We said, okay, we're starting casting today. She walked through the door. She was the first one on the call sheet, and she got the part. She's just naturally a pretty girl. And how does that ever happen in real life? When she got,
I'm so close to having what I want
she
here,
walked through the door.
and it all has. I have to redo this shit again. I want it even tighter. That's what she said. That's kind of funny. So, excuse me while I make extra work for myself. Ugh, that's not what I wanted. Ah! See, this one's so smooth. That one right there is perfect. I need something similar to that on the. This goes too far back. Maybe here, although it's it's not making it very long, but maybe the slow motion will help it out. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's try that. Ah! Who knows? Maybe what's in my head isn't possible. Yeah, Iñárritu could probably do it. Honestly, that's who I would pick. Iñárritu could do it. He would have to get very inspired, but he could pull it off. Like, I think he could. Yeah, I saw La La Land. It was pretty great. I don't care if you were joking. He's a very dedicated, hardworking, talented director. He is masterful. He is a masterful director. He's fantastic. All right. So
Door. She was the first. She got the part. She's just naturally a pretty girl.
this speed, I kind of like. It's about 55. So we're gonna take this, move it, so that it's about 55. So now we have identical speeds. This is gonna cut that off just a bit. But what I can do is have the same opacity. So copy that. Copy that. Welcome to EB Games. And then make sure it's the same length. Paste attributes. Opacity. And voila. Now I just gotta wait for that whole thing to render again. And hopefully it's the way I want it to be, because I'm picky as fuck. Ugh. Actually, we're about at the 7-minute mark with all the shit that I just put on it. This tonic water has like crazy. I don't know how to describe it. It has weird patterns inside it. I know it sounds like I'm high. I wish you guys could see it. It's got this weirdness to how it looks in the glass. Before it even renders the whole thing, let's see how it looks so far.
The first day we said, okay, we're starting casting today. She walked through the door. She was the first one on the call sheet.
Oh, I forgot what I want. No. Okay. Glad I didn't let it render all the way. Because I didn't just want to copy and paste the attributes for opacity. I wanted to copy and paste the attributes for... Oh, no. The original didn't zoom. I can save this. Don't worry. All right. So this one...
The first one on the call sheet, and she got the part. She's just naturally a pretty girl, and how does that ever happen?
Yeah, this one zooms in just fine. Right? Okay. That is the zoom effect. Good. So as long as this is copied, then I can bring this over here and paste the attributes for both the opacity and the basic motion, which is the zoom. So I wanted the zoom. I forgot to paste the attributes for the zoom. In 92 days is hosting me. Thank you. Ugh. There's a song 1 second. I always listen to the song that I wrote called Foundation because it's in the E minor chord. So instead of using like a tuner, I'll just play the song on YouTube and I can tune it pretty well. That was just for tuning. Because as you can see, it's still doing the shit. So I'm just playing guitar for, waiting purposes. Oops. The Resident was style over substance, but that's not to imply that it didn't have substance. It prioritized style over substance, but it didn't not have substance. You're putting on your foundation to match your tone. It's what you told me, but if it were a match, you wouldn't need it at all. All right. Back to editing.
How does that ever happen? Period. The first day we said, okay, we're starting casting today. She walked through the door. She was the first one on the call sheet, and she got the part. She's just naturally. And how does that ever happen in real life? When she got off the...
I want it even slower.
And she got the part. She's just naturally...
Let's see what this looks like. Let's see if I'm happy with it after this long ass rendering time. Now, and basic motion. Not just opacity. Now you know how I feel about you. Now you know how I feel about you. Putting on your foundation to match your tone. That's what you told me, but if it were a match, you wouldn't need it at all. Saying that a mask is better than your pretty face, it's such a waste, but I'm not gonna try to change what you know. Oops. I haven't played that song in a while, so. I'm kind of out of practice for it. See, dating's just a tool I use to figure out that I don't love someone. Hard as it's clock, but I just sleep through my alarm. Any song that I can play without a capo. Someone betters up belongs to someone else. I can't stop the hand from turning with my arm. So it's just another night I cannot sleep. Just another flashing light I'm forced to see. But at least I've tried so hard to close my eyes and sleep through my screams. But I think of ER, like the show. I don't know. Now it seems I've lost myself. What I want today might change as well. Chasing my way out of hell with invisible tape on my damaged shell. And he really likes me too, I guess. With all those nights we spent undressed. Hope to him I'm not just someone else. We listened to the pain we shared as we walked and talked in the cold night air. And I told him he was filling up a void. I said, Jose can't dig deeply as they can eat you up inside your chest. So listen close while I digest and tell you why my eyes are red. It was just another sight I could not see. It was just the final time she made me bleed. And she saw me cry when I was tired of all her lies. And she turned from me. Okay.
The first day we said, okay, we're starting casting today. She walked through the door. She was the first one on the call sheet, and she got the part. She's just naturally a pretty girl. And how does that ever happen in real life? When she got off the chair, I remember her and Sean both came up to me saying, like, that's for Parker, but period. The first day we said, okay, we're starting casting today.
Oh, thanks, Sicko.
She walked through the door. She was the first one on the call sheet, and she got the part. She's just naturally a pretty girl. And how does that ever happen in real life?
All right, so now I'm going to decide between this and the last one. So all I have to do is just press the undo button to see the last one.
A pretty girl. And how does that ever happen? First day we said, okay, we're starting casting today. She walked through the door. She was the first one on the call sheet, and she got the part. She's just naturally a pretty girl.
It's so weird. I don't know what I want here. Cause I thought I had, and I like. In my head, it was a bit different than how it's looking, I guess.
She was the first one on the call sheet, and she got the part. She's just naturally a pretty girl. And how does that ever happen in real life? When she got,
I might have to go back to basics on this one.
Me saying, like, that felt really good. They were proud of the work.
Thanks, Nightmare 512.
Ugh. She was the first one on the call sheet, and she got the part. She's just naturally a pretty girl. And
so there was, I had a loop going during the credits sequence here. So maybe the answer is to do something like that. Let's try. Ugh, But then I have to export it as one. Wait, no, I don't technically have to do that. So if oh wait, no. No, sorry. I want to make sure I know exactly where that cut is. Um, so I'm going to paste the attributes on this one. Motion and opacity. Bring it back exactly to where that cut is. Then I'm going to bring this in. And I guess I can just do this. And then copy and paste motion and opacity. As long as it's the same size, then do that. What went wrong? Why is it? Let's try that again. I think I made the cut at the wrong place. There we go. Fixed it. I did make the cut at the wrong place. Let's see how this works. So no slow-mo. And this is the exact same loop that I used in the end credits for part 1. Bunch of unfinished songs. I can't wait for the album to be done. Also. Those are just my bounces for practicing. I'm drinking a gin and tonic with Fentiman's tonic water, which I impulse bought at the grocery store today. I think I'm going to drink another in a second.
Today, she walked through the door. She was the first one on the call sheet, and she got the.
Yeah, it doesn't look as weird that way. I think I found the one that I like. So let's just wait until this is fully rendered and I'll know. Ugh. I'm hoping it'll be done by like June. I'm gonna grab another drink. BRB. The last one. There were 4 bottles of the Fentiman's tonic water, and I'm about to scarf down the last one. BRB. And I'm back. Thanks, Wayside Comment.
And first person to audition for Frozen. Not the first person just for Parker, but period. The first day we said, okay, we're starting casting today. She walked through the door. She was the first one on the call sheet, and she got the part. She's just naturally a pretty girl. And how does that ever happen in real life? When she got off the chair,
I'm so close to having what I want. And so all I want to do
does that ever happen?
Is end it on the same note. I think I've got one more change. So in this, how she made the stupid face and that's how it ended. That's how I want to end this part. So I got to reverse the footage. I got to Yeah. So I still have the same thing copied. I got to reverse. Wait a minute. Yeah, I can just reverse the footage by unreversing that and then reversing this. Let's remove the other attributes while we're at it so I can tell what the fuck is happening. That does not work. So what I have to do... Oh, that's annoying. But I think I've at least figured out. So, copy, Copy that. So I'm making a new file. Removing all of the attributes here. And I still haven't seen Rent, but I know that everybody gets AIDS. It's like the plot of the movie is people getting AIDS. As was parodied in that South Park movie, Team America. All right, Emma. Wait, Frozen Emma Bell 4. So now that I know this has the same zoom and opacity attributes that I want, all I have to do, I copied that. Frozen Emma 4. We convert this. And then when that's converted, just fill the exact same spot, paste attributes, but also reverse it. I have to reverse it. Reverse, paste attributes. So I'll revert. Did it? Is it not like the exact same length? Something weird happened with the frames here, it looks like. But I can stretch it out a little, I guess, by 1 frame. That's stupid. Change speed, reverse, okay. Paste attributes, basic motion, opacity, okay. And then she's making her stupid face. Yes. She's ending it with her stupid face. Her stupidest of faces. Let's just make sure that that this is the exact scaling and position that is optimal for her stupid face. Okay. That seems like it's good. All right. Save. And hopefully this is something that I'm happy with. How long have I been working on this one effect alone? Well, I'm editing on my Mac. I'm streaming this on OBS with my PC, so the Mac is outputting HDMI to a PC, so I have both. So calm the fuck down. Oh. Ugh. Here, you guys want to hear a sample? This is a song where I feel like kind of okay with sampling parts of it. Turned out decent. But there's still shit that I got to do with it, so this is not the final product. This is scratch vocals. There's still got to be violin. I know it's quiet. Turn your volume up. Nothing I can do about it. So there's still a bunch of shit I gotta add to it. There's gonna be some violin at the end. There's gonna be some jamming electric guitar at the end. Pretty rockin' electric guitar at the end. Yeah. There's a lot of shit that I gotta add to the album. The violin that I wrote for the last part there is actually pretty cool. For the outro. All right, let's hope that this is all right. Because I will be a perfectionist.
But period. The first day we said, okay, we're starting casting today. She walked through the door. She was the first one on the call sheet, and she got the part. She's just naturally a pretty girl.
This is the best so far.
How does that ever happen in real life? When she
This is so close.
ever happen in real life?
So, we're not going to have to watch the whole thing render again. Here's what we're going to do. Ah! I love this face so much that I don't want it to end that way without the face. Oh, here's what we can do. This is even easier. Because we know that this value is 100 on opacity right at the end. Because I cranked it all the way up. So what we can do is have markers on the opacity and we know we'll be able to shit. So this value, I can just look back at it. Wait, what am I doing? Okay. What I want to do is have it so that her face doesn't recoil back. There we go. That's perfect. So I want to make that part a little bit more slow motion just for comedic effect because I think it'll have a big impact. So what we can do here is make sure that the opacity is now 100 there. How come me putting in slow motion got rid of the old marker? What was that? Well, I guess I can copy and paste the opacity then. Jeez, I don't see what the big deal was. I don't know why FCP decided to do that to me. What a jerk. What a bitch. All right. So yeah, completely removed all my opacity information just because I stretched. Oh, fuck. Okay, I can still fix that. Oh, fuck. That's so stupid. Why did it do that? I don't know why it decides to do these things. So, no, that's not what I wanted to do. This is what I wanted to do. There we go. So now that's a seamless, gradual shift in opacity. So that we got that covered. Now what we want to do is take this away, move this here, copy, move this here, move this here, go like this. See how the basic, well, no. So paste attributes, basic motion. Now, if we move this back in here, there will be a seamless, there we go. So despite it being two separate clips, the motion will stay the same. Even though, if let's say the motion wasn't the same, it probably wouldn't matter. If no one would, probably no one would notice but me. But I think I got it now. You know what? Just to double check on whether or not I got it, I might actually be able to skip some of the rendering. I'm just going to render this part by itself because this was the only part I wanted to change, and then right away I'll know if this part alone is good.
In real life,
Yes, that worked out. Now all I have to do is just wait for it to render, and I have this part down. I know I spent a long time on this fucking part. So you've got... And you admitted it yourself. It was with your motivation that I decided to drop out of school. Now you're teaching someone else because you're jealous and you're greedy. You can't stand to see a caterpillar grow into a butterfly. You just want it for yourself because you're the queen bee of your hell and you don't care who's on your side. You'll never grow, oh, you'll never grow. If you don't get what you want, you don't want anyone with it too. Reflection, and I'm falling down in the wrong direction. You can save yourself if you can listen to someone else. But as for me, I won't be coming back to hell. Yeah, can't show too much. Still a work in progress. It'll sound very different when it's actually out. But that's kind of how it's coming along. The director did love that scene very much. Adam Green, who I expect will be very upset with me after this entire review is finished, because like I basically go from a casual review to like a fucking hit piece by the end of it. Oops. I like how I can pick up and put away my guitar without even, like, standing up. Because these wall racks that I've got.
For Parker, but period. The first day we said, okay, we're starting casting today. She walked through the door. She was the first one on the call sheet, and she got the part. She's just naturally a pretty girl. And how does that ever happen in real life? When she
So the only thing that didn't go through here was the opacity for some reason. But I think I still have it. There we go. Maybe it's because I didn't keyframe it. What the fuck? Now it's different. Right? What was the... What clip did I just affect?
happened.
Okay. So making sure that this clip is highlighted. Yeah. Opacity. Yeah. Okay. And now it says 100. What the hell is that? Do your opacity. Why is it changing to what? What the fuck is that? I've never experienced this shit before. Okay, how about we do a keyframe here at 100. Now, when I try to make this... Oh. What is that? There's no gradual shift. Oh my god. What the hell is that bullshit? What just happened? I thought I'd encountered, like, every glitch that Final Cut Pro 7 had to offer, and that I was familiar enough with, like, avoiding them or making sure that they didn't happen. But now it's like, what is this? What the fuck is this? Yeah, 100. Apparently that also... I'm going to have to remove attributes of opacity and see if that does anything. Now, at this exact keyframe, I can put that. And then if I put here as 100, what happens? Oof, it worked. Okay. All right, dodged a bullet. Just removed the attributes. I don't want to do my longest yeah boy ever right now. But that video is pretty funny. And you know what? Like, there's no way that
ever happened in real life. When she got
okay, I'm happy with it. I'm very happy with it. And that means if I'm very happy with something, I'm just going to watch through it one more time.
Not the first person just for Parker, but period. The first day we said, okay, we're starting casting today. She walked through the door. She was the first one on the call sheet, and she got the part. She's just naturally a pretty girl. And how does that ever happen in real life? When she got off...
I'm coming up with more ideas. I don't know.
Emma Bell
I'm insane. I'm actually a crazy person.
Person to audition for Frozen. Not the first person just for Parker, but period. The first day we said, okay, we're starting casting today. She walked through the door. She was the first one on the call sheet, and she got the part. She's just naturally a pretty girl. And how does that ever happen in real life? When she got...
I think I'm happy enough with it. I think I'm happy enough with it. I was thinking of maybe zooming in on him at the same time. But anyway, if I'm happy with something, I make a new save, and that's kind of the general rule. Is if I do something that took a long time and it's like, oh, finally, I'm happy with it, new save immediately, because you want to make sure you have like a copy of that somewhere that's perfect, that you don't ruin.
She was the first one on the call sheet, and she got the part. She's just naturally a pretty girl, and how does... period. For Frozen. Not the first person just for not the first person just for Parker, but period. The first day we said, okay, we're starting casting today. She walked through the door. She was the first one on the call sheet, and she got the part. She's just naturally a pretty girl, and how does that ever happen in real life? When she got off the chair, I remember her and
I'm not gonna fuck with it right now.
Sean both came up to me saying like that felt really good. They were proud of the work that they had done, and it definitely shows in the movie.
With because now it's like I need something over top of this shit, so I might as well use the
shows in the movie.
I might as well use the same thing again here.
Definitely shows in.
Because like if I don't put anything here, let me remove the opacity attributes, by the way. If I don't put anything here, then it fades into the next part of the featurette where the shot was like, okay, and there's Newberry comic shit. So I need something
That they had done, and it definitely the work that they had done, and it definitely showed the work that they had done, and it. They had done, and it definitely shows in the movie. And it definitely.
but
And it,
remove attributes, basic motion, keep the speed, make some opacity shit here. Let's see how this looks. Her acting is pretty great.
when she got off the chair, I remember her and Sean both came up to me saying like that felt really good. They were proud of the work that they had done, and it definitely shows in the movie.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna even. I think I'm gonna have it on her face, just because it's so fucking awful. That means I need to borrow these black bars again. They will be shortened. Not as much render time with this shit. Don't worry. Hi, Jellycats. Talking to me in all caps. Like you some kind of ANCAP. But ANCAPs can't rap. Here's a question for ANCAPs. What do you do about underage drivers in your utopia? You can't stop that. Some kid is like, yeah, I'm gonna buy a car. I'm gonna drive it. There's no license. There's no governmental test to prove that you can drive. Watch car fatalities skyrocket.
Life.
You don't have a solution for that shit.
She got off the chair. I remember her and Sean both came up to me saying like that felt really good. They were proud of the work that they had done, and it definitely shows in the movie. That they had done, and it definitely shows in the movie. They were proud of the work that they had done, and it definitely shows in the movie.
Maybe I don't need that, but I do need a way to avoid having the bars in there at all, because the rest of the footage that I'm using in here before I'll get to the next static cut isn't the same aspect ratio. So to have those black bars is kind of abrasive. So this would be the one instance where I don't have the black bars because it's a static cut to a regular non-black bar clip.
Really good. They were proud of the work that they had done, and it definitely shows in the movie.
Unless I want to add black bars over top of all this shit. which I could. I could see how it looks. Without, oh fuck, that's not what I want. I could add black bars throughout this entire scene and just see like I don't know. What's weirder?
When she got off the chair, I remember her and Sean both came up to me saying like that felt really good. They were proud of the work that they had done, and it definitely shows in the movie.
This is fine. Yeah, this is fine. I think the zoom like pointing attention to her just as soon as she's raising her arms will bring a lot to it. Why don't I do this? Ba-dum-ba-dum-boom. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba-dum, boom, boom. Bum-ba-dum. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go ahead a bit, but ultimately, what I want to do, actually, yeah, I can make a keyframe there, and then automatic keyframe 100, 0, and 0. There we go. So now it's less abrasive. The cut, it's not as much. The zoom isn't far enough that the cut wouldn't be abrasive. So I'm using a zoom itself. But it looks like that didn't work. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Gonna make a, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 100, 0, and 0. Oops. And then have that go like that. Let's see how that looks. It's better, making a zoom is better when it's synchronized with some sort of like sound or action. Yes, I'll finish that right after this Frozen thing's done. Sorry. Okay, so it's a very subtle zoom. So subtle that most people won't notice it, but I do like it, and we're keeping it. Oh, all right. I gotta piss. Give me a second. Back. All right. So let's see how that this whole sequence is about her bad acting. Like we started out on the like wolf shit. First I was talking about this is where did we start today? That's pretty much. It looks like he's done for, but then she throws a snowboard at it and it runs away. I can't feel. Let's just review. Well, my bathroom is like I have the bedroom suite. So I mean it's like right there. I'm editing in my bedroom, so you can't feel your legs anymore. Well then why don't you try this is where we started. Mountain? Are you just gonna sit there? Can you not use your arms? Does it not make sense to use your arms to crawl towards one of the snowboards and then use that snowboard to slide down the hill? You got options here, you're just not using them. Go like this. I don't like that static cut. I'll worry about that later.
I don't know, I think it's frostbite.
What? I totally thought it was a sunburn. Okay, hold the fuck up. If it's cold enough to get frostbite, not only would you be hiding your faces into your jackets like a fucking turtle, but there's no way in hell you'd be comfortably gripping your bare hand on this metal guardrail. If you touched it for an instant, you'd immediately recoil your hand as though you're touching a fucking flame. You are clearly not in the cold if you can just nonchalantly grip it like that. Meanwhile, the director can't even do a single Q&A without gloating over how they actually filmed it in the cold. You are very clearly either lying or over-exaggerating.
Everything in Frozen is real. The story is real, the people are real, how we shot it is real, what everybody went through is real.
Alright, so now he's actually gonna try and do something. And wow, what a surprise, he does it in the stupidest way possible. You don't think you should maybe climb up the chair you're on and then get both your arms and legs on top of the cable? You've got a jacket and snow pants, you could just hook yourself on with your knees and elbows and shimmy along. You don't think that would minimize the risk of falling? He makes it barely anywhere and then gives up pretty quickly. Oh shit, more wolves.
Don't you fucking let her look!
This is a fucking comedy.
Don't you let her look!
Wow, maybe you should have crawled to the snowboard and escaped before that happened. To be perfectly fair, you did have a delicious-looking sausage coming out of your leg. I like how he doesn't even try to fight back in the slightest. They literally just added sound effects to him being kissed by doggos.
Don't you let her look!
That worked. Atrocious. That worked well.
Emma Bell was the very first person to audition for Frozen. Not the first person just for Parker, but period. The first day we said, okay, we're starting casting today. She walked through the door, she was the first one on the call sheet, and she got the part. She's just naturally a pretty girl, and how does that ever happen in real life? When she got off the chair, I remember her and Sean both came up.
I don't even know if I like this static cut. Sometimes I add too many and I regret it. Let's see.
Real life. When she got off.
Yeah, I'll worry about that when there's music. Because sometimes it's easier to tell.
How does that ever happen in real life? When she got off the chair, I remember her and Sean both came up to me saying like that felt really good. They were proud of the work that they had done, and it definitely shows in the movie.
Okay, cool. We've conquered that scene. I love how they couldn't just end the scene with her. Well, almost, I guess. Her screaming. No, they just had to add that echo sound effect. I could usher it in. Ah, my mouse is being weird. Fuck. What's happening? Okay. Ah, Do I have to plug it, unplug it, and plug it back in? All right. There's so I can't. So we're at 7 minutes here. We're at 7 minutes right now. We've got. Let's see how long this is, just of my narration. So this is 12:28:14 up to 20:18. It's about 8 minutes there. That's 20:20 28 to 30. What the? Oh, 26. Okay, 26 to 35. About 10. 8 minutes there, 10 minutes there, and then 40, 36 to 41, 42. So good 7 minutes here plus 20 minutes of dialogue or narration that could very well turn into something like, I don't know, over 23, 24 minutes maybe. So it could be a half-hour long thing total, and then plus credits at the end. This could be split into 2 parts if I stress if there's a good place to split it halfway in the middle, because I'm kind of feeling like I want this part to end after here, like this. You probably just heard something very weird. We haven't gotten to that part yet. But there's this whole argument that I would not want to split in 2 parts. I want to have this whole argument in one video, so we'll see. Does that really add anything, or are you just doing that because it's a cliche? So now I guess some time has passed. Does that really All right. Moving on up. You know what? I think it's the echo is probably supposed to be like, oh yeah, that's how far away she is from like where the camera winds up being. But it's such a shitty echo effect. Like the reverb is just so poorly thought out. Effect. I love how they couldn't just. Ba-da-da. I love how they. Ba-dum bum 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 bum. Ba-dum bum 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 bum. I love how they couldn't just end the scene with her screaming. No, they just had to add that echo sound effect. Does that really add anything, or are you just doing that because it's a cliche? So now I guess some time has passed and they're just sitting. Oh, come on, really? Yeah. So as I'm going through the movie, because it's a cliche, I already know what I say that to. Sometimes I give myself hints or whatever. Sometimes in the actual narration, I'll like whisper something like add a laugh track or something, like laugh track. If there's an idea that I think I won't remember by the time I'm editing it. But if it's something that I'm reacting to, like, oh, come on, really? I pretty much trust myself enough to know what I'm talking about by the time that it gets to it. So what I'm doing that to is his hands. Where does it show him? There it is. So here's where I talk about something really funny.
Time has passed and they're just sitting there. Oh, come on, really?
All right. Here's where we get into a really funny argument.
Cliche. So now I guess some time has passed and they're just sitting there. Oh, come on, really?
We'll add that a little bit further back so it seems like I naturally reacted to it.
Cliche. So now I guess some time has passed and they're just sitting there. Oh, come on, really?
Why is that now? Why does that need to render? This is just a regular...
Some time has passed.
Oh, it's because I had motion effects on it anyway. Might as well do that. Actually, no. Because it'll take just as long to render, and it won't do that weird thing. But so yeah, that's from him literally just climbing across the chairlift cable, which doesn't make any goddamn sense at all. They tore through my hands. It's razor sharp. He's got like leather gloves on. It's not razor sharp. That's bullshit. That's actual bullshit.
Time has passed and they're just. Hey, so now I guess some time has passed and they're just sitting there. Oh, come on, really?
That's pretty good. I like that.
I guess that's why they mentioned the cable was razor sharp. Could it cut through your gloves if you were sliding down the cable at a decent speed? Sure. But you're not gonna get this result from just carrying your weight for 30 seconds. How does this make sense? Now, this might seem like common sense to most people, but the director, Adam Green, is insisting that this is how the world works, although there's likely some truth. Really? I guess that's why they mentioned the cable was razor.
Ugh.
I guess. Sitting. Oh, come on, really?
I like doing the zoom in, zoom out. So again, 4 frames is the magic amount of frames. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 frames over. 100, 0, 0. It's a good amount of time so that it's really quick, but it's just enough for your brain to like process that it's happening. Depending on how deep the zoom is, how powerful the zoom is, I might change it to a different number of frames if you know it was zooming in a lot further or something. Ugh.
cliche. So now I guess some time has passed and they're just sitting. Oh, come on, really? I guess that's why they mentioned the cable was razor sharp. Could it?
I'm gonna use the Dr. Evil quotes. Dr. Evil? Where are you? There you are. Da 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 da.
Razor.
Bum 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 ba dum bum bum. I have the Blu-ray. I should get a Blu-ray screen cap of this because I'm sick of using this fucking low res image. This is from the first film. Ugh, definitely not doing that now. But I have the ability to make a high res image, you know? I have the Blu-ray, I can just rip it. I do like Austin Powers. The first two. Well, I mean, the third one just sucks. Third one's kind of bad. Beyonce kind of ruins it.
Is razor sharp. Could it cut through? Is razor.
It's funnier when it's low res. Okay. No, we don't call elevators
The
lifts.
cable was razor sharp. Could it cut through your gloves if you were sliding down the cable at a decent speed? Sure. But you're not gonna get this result from just. Could it cut through your gloves if you were sliding down the cable at a decent speed? Sure. But you're not gonna get this result from just carrying your weight for 30 seconds. How does this make sense? Now this might seem like common sense. So now I guess some time has passed and they're just sitting. Oh, come on, really?
How long was Frozen Part 1? A good 17 minutes, almost 18 minutes. That's not bad.
I guess that's why they mentioned the cable was razor sharp. Could it cut through your gloves if you were sliding down the cable at a decent speed? Sure. But you're not gonna get this result from just carrying your weight for 30 seconds. How does this make sense? Now this might seem.
So now I'm going to go back to this footage that I kind of put aside here.
For him to do the other stunts.
This is it. Got it. All right, found it right away. Because now I'm going to use it. Now I'm actually going to use the footage that I put aside earlier in the stream.
He was so cold, the cable was slicing through his gloves. We had to get special gloves made for him to do. He was so cold.
I think this is the exact frame that he starts. There we go. Yep, it is.
He was so cold, the cable was slicing through his gloves. We had to get special gloves made for him to do the other stunts.
The angle of the cable, does it look similar to what we were rehearsing?
Do the other stunts.
Everything was real.
To do the other stunts.
Everything was real.
Razor sharp. Could it cut through your gloves if you were sliding down the cable at a decent speed? Sure. But you're not gonna get this result from just carrying.
All right, I need to look at more clips from the same scene.
He was.
Oh, that's kind of fucking funny. That they basically just took out a couple frames of this shot. Okay, I can use this.
It seemed like common sense to most people, but could it cut through your gloves if you were sliding down the cable at a decent speed? Sure. But you're not gonna get this result from just carrying your weight for 30 seconds. How does this make sense? Wait for 30 seconds. How does this... Could it cut through your gloves if you were sliding down the cable at a decent speed? Sure. But you're not gonna get this result from just carrying your weight for 30 seconds. How does this make sense? Now this might seem like get this result from just
Almost. There we go.
carrying your weight for 30 seconds. How does this make sense? Now this might seem like
There we go. Da-da-dum, ba-da-dum. Da-da-da-da, da-da-dum. Da-da-da-ba-bum-ba.
How does this make sense? Now this might seem like common sense to most people, but the director Adam
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
How does this make sense? Now this might seem like common sense to most people, but the director Adam Green is insisting makes sense. Now this might seem like common sense to most
Yeah, that's the song. Jelly Cats.
people, but the direct people, but the
I could use this, I guess. Oops.
people, but the director Adam Green is insisting that this is how the world works.
Just don't want his hand in there because it's a little distracting.
Director Adam Green is insisting that this is how the world works.
But
He was
Works.
he was so cold.
World works.
He was so cold. The cable was slicing through his gloves. We had to get special gloves made for him to do the other stunt.
Although there's likely some truth to what he's saying, what needs to be understood about this director is that he vastly over-exaggerates his claims. There was actually an episode of Mythbusters where they tried to test out something kind of similar. Basically, they were trying to see if you could use a pair of jeans
Special gloves made for him to do the other stunts. For him to do the other stunts.
Although there's like
Other stunts.
although there's like
Other stunts.
although there's like
Special gloves made for him to do the other stunts.
although there's likely
Excuse.
some truth to what he's saying to most people, but the director Adam Green is insisting that this is how the world works.
He was so cold, the cable was slicing through his gloves. We had to get special gloves made for him to do the other stunts.
Although there's likely some truth to what he's saying, what needs to be understood about this director is that he
Other stunts.
although there's likely some truth to what he's saying, what needs to be understood about this director is that he vastly over-exaggerates his claims.
Ah! I have yet to find a face that's more perfect than this fucking face. It fits so well in everything that I want to say, you know, and I'm not the type of person to throw my face in at every like opportunity, except for that one photo, I guess. I feel like this captures what I'm trying to say a lot of the time.
This director is that he vastly over-exaggerates his claims.
I could add in the widescreen here too, because I did for one of them earlier. It's kind of funny.
Is that he
It doesn't matter as much here because it's so dark in this scene that you can't even tell where it is.
This director is that he vastly over-exaggerates his claims.
Ba-dum-bum-ba-dum-ba. Ba-da-da-bum-bum-ba. What do I say after this? Da-da-da-da.
There was actually an episode of
Da-da-da.
Felt really good. They were
over-exaggerating.
everything in Frozen.
I'm gonna use this so many fucking times. It's such a stupid thing to say.
Everything. Everything. Every.
Claims.
Everything in. Everything in Frozen.
Everything in Frozen was real. Everything was real.
About this director is that he vastly over-exaggerates his claims.
Everything in Frozen is real. Everything in Frozen is real. The story is real. The people are real. How he shot it is real. What everybody went through is real.
What are you talking about? What are you actually talking about? This is the stupidest thing you could say.
It's real.
This is so stupid. How could he say that?
There was actually an episode of Mythbusters where they tried to test out something kind of similar. Basically, they were trying to see if you could use a pair of it. They determined that it was not feasible, but it wasn't because it's because they were trying to slide down the cable and there was too much friction. At first, they were unable to slide at all, so they wound up using a bunch of oil, and after the oil was applied, they could slide more easily, but the combined weight and friction wound up ripping up the jeans. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, Adam, how do you know it would be losing his hand? Then it would be torn to shipping at the design to be used in this. His gloves a little? Yes, especially with how he's moving them across. Way, do I believe that your proves is that jeans are
Ashley Tisdale's wearing my jeans. Kiki Palmer's wearing my jeans.
There was
She wore those jeans like me. Whoa, whoa, whoa. She wore those jeans like me.
actually an
Is real.
there was actually claims.
Everything in Frozen is real. The story is real. The people are real. How we shot it is real. What everybody went through is real.
How do you say that? How do you? I gotta piss. BRB. I might get another drink. BRB. Ay. So there are a bunch of eggs in my fridge, and they were gonna expire while I was at FC, or the expiry date would have been hit while I was at FC.
Vastly over-exaggerated.
And so I was like, well, feel free to help yourself to the eggs, everybody in the house, while I'm gone. And then nobody did, so I came back and I'm like, well, these are gonna expire any second now. So I made I just hard boiled all of them, and I forgot how delicious hard boiled eggs were. Nice emoji, Sickab. Nice emoticon. Nice Twitch emote. Oops. Shit.
We shot it is real. What everybody went through is real.
There was
Everybody went through is real.
is that he vastly over-exaggerates his claims.
Everything in Frozen is real. The story is real.
So yeah, I have like 12 hard-boiled eggs in my fridge. It's like that'll make them last. I can put them in salad. Every time I've been going by the fridge, I've just kind of been like stealing one out of the fridge and eating them. They're actually delicious. I love them.
People are real.
I forgot how good they
Shot it
were.
is real. What everybody went through is real.
Maybe I just made them particularly well this time.
There was actually an
So I actually watched this episode of Mythbusters for the sake of this review. Not even fucking kidding. I tracked down this episode of Mythbusters.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely confirmed. It's confirmed.
Coming up, Tory flies by the seat of his pants.
Yeah.
Only about 10.
Mine was the best.
Denim divination.
The best case scenario for Buster is that he and his genes will take a very
Real.
There was actually an episode of Mythbusters where they tried to test out something kind of similar. Basically, they were trying to see if you could use a pair of jeans to effortlessly slide down a ski lift cable and use it as a
I'm sure they have some sort of graphic where they explain it. Whoever draws that shit.
Duds really be. Can your denim duds really be used to?
So the reason why I even watched or am using this episode is because there's another channel called Good Bad Flicks who coincidentally, extremely coincidentally, released their Frozen review
down a ski lift
about 9 days or so before I released mine. Now, I'd been working on it, obviously, well before then. These projects take me a lot longer than 9 days to make.
slide down a ski lift cable and use it as a zip line. By the
But his review was largely positive. Although he didn't really say much about the movie, he just kind of showed behind the scenes footage and regurgitated a lot of the points that the director made. And I'm not trying to say that as an insult. Like the content he makes is a little different than mine.
of jeans to effortlessly slide
But
down
he
a
like the whole video, he's basically just giving a point by point of everything that the director said in the behind the scenes footage.
lift cable and use it as a zip
Doesn't really add much to the video other than that.
line. By the end
And so he uses the Mythbusters episode, and he includes the clip at the end where they say, "Oh shit! Here was I did
So cold.
isolate the clip. That's where it was. Fuck, damn it.
Never lost.
Ah, shit. It was right next to the Mythbusters shit the whole time when I was looking for it earlier. Anyway, he used the clip at the end where they're like, myth busted.
The cable.
Because they're like, yeah, you couldn't slide down this. The jeans ripped. But it's like the jeans didn't rip because the cable's sharp. And the entire episode, if you watch the episode, like it goes against his point. And so that's why I have to include it now. Like I'm forced to include it. Because if I don't mention it, if I'm going to make the point of saying, no, chairlift cables are not razor sharp, then there'll be people who watched his video because he's a 100,000 subscriber channel. There'll be people who watched what he did and be like, Adam, actually, there was a Mythbusters episode where they said the cables are razor sharp. So that's why I'm doing this, to prove that this is not what the Mythbusters episode said at all. I'm not going to mention his channel. I don't want to give him like hate or anything. He's a very cool guy, and we had a very thorough conversation about this film before me going to the Mythbusters episode, and going the extra mile with a lot of the shit that I'm doing in this episode. He was very understanding about it.
What everybody went through is real.
There was actually an episode of Myth.
But yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I have to put this shit in here.
Similar. Basically, they were trying to see if you could use a pair of jeans to effortlessly slide down a ski lift cable and use it as a zip line. By the end of it, they determined that it was not feasible, but it wasn't because the
All right. Here we go. No, I thought I had copied all that shit over here. I guess I did not. No, okay. So I want to move this shit back over here. And there we go. That myth busted.
Took a lot more work than that.
So zipline jeans escape busted. Escape busted.
This was the clip he used. He literally just showed this.
So
Sorry.
To escape
the cable.
Yeah, using your clothing to escape a ski lift, bad idea. Either the clothing is gonna rip, or your arm's gonna give out.
He used the clip of them saying the clothing is going to rip to imply that the clothing ripped because the ski lift cable is razor sharp, when that is not the case at all. The clothing did not rip because of that, and I'll explain it to you as I'm going along. It's just factually inaccurate, and I'm honestly a little shocked that he put that in his review, because it's like the footage that he had to have watched to get to this point does not back up the point that he was trying to make, that he included the footage to use, pretending as though it backed up his point. Just being perfectly honest, it's a little weird.
By the end of it, they determined that it was not feasible, but it wasn't because the cable was too sharp. It's because they were trying to slide down the cable and there was too much friction. At first, they were unable to slide at all, so they wound up using a bunch.
Here we go.
Come on, dude, like your life.
Yeah, look at this. This isn't razor sharp. That's bullshit. It's grade A bullshit.
All right, here we go.
Come on, dude.
In this chat, RK the Fox 7, I believe it. Otherwise, it would be a joke, but I believe it in this chat.
Cable, and there was too much friction. At first, they were.
Okay, Mr. EP.
Too too sharp. It's because they were trying to slide down the cable and there was too much friction. At first they were unable to slide at all, so they wound up using a bunch of oil, and after the oil was applied they could slide more easily, but the combined weight and friction wound up ripping up the jeans. Now I know some of you are probably thinking, Adam, how do you know?
Slide or stick.
All right. 20. All right. The pants. Whoa.
Jeans escape on a ski lift cable.
Yeah, first, look at him touching the cable.
So what the guys need is more angle on Tori.
He's touching the cable right here. That's not razor sharp.
So what the guys need is more angle on Tori's dangle.
Fucking missed that. Wow. If that was razor sharp, he'd be cutting his hands. Those are bare hands on that cable. Look at that shit.
So what the guys
Look. Razor sharp. This is a ski lift cable.
So what the guys
This is what the cable is.
more angle on Tori's dangle.
Now we've increased our angle to 20 degrees. Double what the first test had.
Friction. At first they were unable to slide at all, so they wound up using a bunch of oil, and after the oil was applied, it's because they was too sharp. It's because they were trying to slide down the cable and there was too much friction. At first they were unable to slide at all, so they wound up using
Yeah, I gotta make sure this one clip is isolated so I don't forget about it if I go to bed before this part's done. Where do I put it? Where I'll remember it? Right here.
especially with how he's moving.
There we go. Because he's literally touching it right there, right? He's touching it with his bare fucking hands.
The cable was too sharp. It's because they were trying to slide down the cable and there was too much friction. At first they were unable to slide at all, so they wound up using a bunch of oil, and
It's so why? How can he just say that shit? How can he just make shit up? You know. The cables are razor sharp. They did cut through his gloves because they're razor sharp. I'm right. You guys are dumb. Questioning my movie, you're dumb. You're the stupid ones.
Will it make Tori made it down.
They wound up ripping.
Jeans cope with the friction from the cable.
Totally ripped right up the crotch.
Jeans cope with the friction from the cable.
They literally say friction in the voiceover.
Totally ripped right up the crotch.
Yeah, but maybe the waistband would save you.
Maybe.
There's only one way to find out for sure. Full scale on our
I need the part where they lube it up.
top motto in action.
Consistency. Castor oil.
It literally is from the friction. Because it's like if you're trying to do the same thing on like tree bark, the same results would happen. You know? It's bumpy, that doesn't mean it's sharp.
first they were
You're trying to slide and apply pressure on something that's like serrated, but not sharp, you know?
Slide at all, so they wound up using a bunch of oil, and after the oil was applied, they could slide more.
And there's also more footage that shows
They were unable to slide at all, so they wound
my
up
point.
using a bunch of oil, and after the oil was applied, they could slide more easily, but the combined weight and friction wound up ripping.
And I even addressed that because I figured there would be people that were like, "Oh yeah, it's totally sharp."
Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, Adam, how do you know it was the weight and friction and not the cables being razor sharp like the director says they are? Well, for one thing, if the cable's as sharp as the director says they are, then this guy lubing it up would be losing his hand. I mean, look at how...
Yeah, first of all, this guy...
Well, look at how thin that cloth is. If the cables are razor sharp, then it would be torn to shreds. But on one... Well, for one thing, if the cable's as sharp as the director says they are, then this guy lubing it up would be losing his hand. I mean, look at how...
So this is a minor point. This is like not even the ammo I have.
But on one of the tests, the jeans wound up ripping at the legs.
Yeah, so like look at this shit. Look at this shit. The jeans ripped at the legs. Like, clearly it has nothing to do with the cable being razor sharp. And it has everything to do with jeans not being suitable for ziplining on. You know? Yeah. I'm gonna have to leave space for an extra vocal recording because I'm gonna want to mention the guy the guy that's literally touching the cable with his bare hands. Because I didn't even spot that the first 2 times that I watched it.
Says they are. Well, for one thing, if the cable's as sharp as the director says they are, then this guy lubing it up would be losing his hand. I mean, look at how thin that cloth is. If the cables are razor sharp...
Dried mangoes are the shit. I love those. They're pretty great. I haven't bought those in a while. I need to buy those again. They were so accessible at that grocery store that was near our old house that I won't name. But I don't see them anymore. Maybe I gotta look harder. Maybe I should ask someone at the grocery store near my current place that I won't name.
Would be losing his hand. I mean, look at how thin that cloth is. If the cables are razor sharp, then it would be torn to shreds. But on one of the tests, the jeans wound up ripping at...
I'm gonna add a vocal thing saying, and let's not mention that this guy is literally touching it with his bare hands.
Would be torn to shreds.
So what the guys need is more.
But on one of the...
So what the guys need is more.
So I'm gonna reverse this shot. Because by the end, I want it to be like a bit of a reveal. And then slow it down. That'll probably be a thing. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Be torn to shreds.
Just leaving this part blank because I'm going to need to record some dialogue.
They could slide more easily, but the combined...
Still not at the 7-minute mark. I thought wait. Okay, no, this is 8 something. Usually the text isn't this small, but since I have it optimized for the 1080p HDMI output, everything's a bit smaller. Because my laptop screen isn't that big.
Using a bunch of oil, and after the oil was applied, they could slide more easily, but the combined weight and friction.
So now I'm gonna get the soundbite of him saying,
Maybe the waistband would save you.
All right. 20-degree angle.
Rig. Will Tori slide or stick?
2.
Yes!
I guess if my life depended on it, it might take me
Slide, but
some
it's a
time.
pretty good crawl.
This time round, Tori does get further down.
I wouldn't fall and die.
But remember, this myth is about an effortless glide to freedom, not a jerky bunny hop. And check out the big brain on Grant, because he's got an idea.
One thing that we're missing.
It's Jamie Tori made it down, but how did the jeans cope with the... Tori made it... Tori made it... Tori made it down, but how did the jeans cope with the friction from the cable?
Totally ripped right up the crotch.
Ripping up the jeans.
Tori
More easily, but the combined. Slide more easily, but the combined weight and friction wound up ripping up the jeans.
Tori made it down, but how did the jeans cope with the friction from the cable?
Totally ripped right up.
the narrator says friction.
Tori made it down,
Like, very clearly, too.
but how did the jeans cope with the friction from the cable?
Totally ripped right up the crotch.
Now I know some of you are probably. Now I know some of you are probably thinking, Adam, how do you know it was the weight and friction and not the cables being razor sharp like the director says they are? Well, for one thing, probably thinking, Adam, how do you know it was the weight and friction and not the cables being razor, the cables being
Razor sharp.
How does this make sense?
All right.
Right up the crotch.
Now I know some of you are probably thinking, Adam, how do you know it was the weight and friction and not the cables being razor sharp like the director says they are? Well, for one thing, if the cable's as sharp as the director says they are, then this guy lubing it up would be losing his hand. I mean, look at how thin that cloth is. If the cables are razor sharp, then it would be torn to shreds.
Not to mention, I'll have to look up the name of his character. Not to mention, this guy is literally touching it with his bare fucking hands. And then it'll keep going.
But on one of the tests,
I'll move this up a little, just as a indicator.
But on one of the
I'll put a marker here. Why don't I do that? M for marker. M. Oh, okay. Now I understand how markers work. If I highlight the clip, it'll appear on the clip and not the timeline. This is on the timeline. Put them on both. I can always remove them after. Because, yeah, you can always remove them.
But on one of the tests, the jeans wound up ripping at the legs. The only
How dangerous.
Is, can Tori do any better?
What do we do now?
How about help him down?
Literally the only thing that this Mythbusters episode proves is that jeans should not be used to zipline.
But on one legs. The legs. Legs. But on one of the tests, the jeans wound up ripping at the legs. The only thing this Mythbuster ripping at the legs. The only thing this Mythbusters episode proves is that jeans are not designed to be used in this way.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Get rid of that.
Do I believe that your stuntman scratched up his gloves a little? Yes, especially with how he's moving them across the cable. Do I believe that the cable is as razor sharp as you are claiming it is? No. And just so we're clear on how dramatically over-exaggerated this director's claims are, there's another...
Literally, like, all this shit. All this is shit that, like, I wasn't intending to put in my part 2 until I had to argue with someone. It's so weird. And like, it makes me very glad that I split it into 2 parts. Because otherwise I would release my part 1, like the whole thing, part 1 and 2 maybe at the same time or something. And I would be like, yo, you can't even see their breath. It means that it probably means that it wasn't cold. And then in response, I would just have people regurgitating the director's stupid claims, not scientifically backed in the slightest, saying, actually, when you can't see their breath, that means it's so cold that their body temperatures have dropped to near hypothermic levels, which is bullshit. And I've gone out of my way to prove it as bullshit with this whole chunk here. But if I didn't have my video split into 2 parts that were released at different times, then I wouldn't even have known of that counter argument, and this whole counter argument wouldn't exist. All this shit wouldn't exist, and it's so fucking good and funny. It's so fucking funny how ruthless I am at destroying this director's ideas and claims. I can't wait. It's so fucking funny.
At the legs. The only thing that
it is about moisture, but it is also about temperature. But what makes this claim false is that the normal human body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, Mild hypothermia is 35 degrees Celsius. There's no such climate in which a literal 2 degree difference would result in breath being visible or not visible. That's not a thing. And I go into a lot of detail explaining it. And even if you're going to say like, oh yeah, he gave his actors mild hypothermia throughout the film, which some people are actually claiming. Like, oh yeah, like he's just a really hardcore director. Severe hypothermia, which he definitely did not give them, is 28 degrees Celsius core body temperature. So that's literally 9 degrees off of normal body temperature being 37 degrees Celsius. There is no such climate in which they were like, oh yeah, this is actually cold. Everything was real. Where you would be able to say like a 9 degree difference, literally 9 degree difference, would result in their body temperatures dropping so much that you couldn't see their breath. It's so stupid. I don't know why he said that. I don't know how that shit got allowed into 2 commentary tracks and special features, but it is having I am going to have so much fun with this video. You have no idea. It is so funny. It's so funny. Well, he definitely did not make them that cold. He's just hamming it up for the promotional footage. And it's so fucking obnoxious. He's literally just lying to better sell his film.
But on one of the tests, the jeans wound up ripping at the legs. The only thing this Mythbusters
They wouldn't be able to act if they had real hypothermia.
episode proves is that jeans are not designed to be used in this way. Do I believe that you...
Like, hypothermia has like actual consequences. You know, you can't just pretend you don't have hypothermia. You'd be shivering at mild hypothermia. You'd be shivering the entire time, which the actors are not doing.
Fix you in place.
Go.
But they may have a way to...
Friction in the system to be able to slide.
So guys, how'd it go?
It was a little disappointing, and it was nothing like we imagined. You know, you picture going down a zip line. It took a lot more work than that. The jeans kept sticking to the cable.
Yeah, using your clothing to escape a ski lift, bad idea. Either the clothing is gonna rip, bad idea. Either the using your
Is it really vindictive if I use the exact same clip?
The only thing this Mythbusters episode proves is that jeans are not designed to be used in this way. Do I believe that you're stunt...
Because, like, the only thing I'm trying to prove here, and it's very unfortunate that, I'm not going to mention him in the review, but the people who have seen his review will immediately know what I'm doing here. And I'm not trying to be, like, an asshole. I'm just trying to be factual about it, which he apparently was not trying to be.
The only thing this Mythbusters episode proves is
Which
that
is sad, because I want to live in this happy, fun universe where everybody's a perfect human being.
Not designed to be used in this way.
using your clothing to escape a ski lift, bad idea. Either the clothing is gonna rip, or your arms are gonna give out.
The only thing this Mythbusters episode proves is that jeans are not designed to be used in this way.
Using your clothing to escape a ski lift, bad idea. Either the clothing is gonna rip, or your arms are gonna give out.
So zipline jeans escape. Busted.
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 It's actually unavoidable, you know? Like, people are gonna take it as though I'm trying to jab this other reviewer, but I'm really not trying to. I'm just trying to, like, bring facts to it, and he said something that's entirely not factual, you know? So I gotta do it in this way. I gotta do it so that people understand it.
In this way.
Using
It's so. This is the exact same clip that he used. He literally just started it here,
using your clothing.
and he said he said this proves. Well, he didn't say it literally, but he implied that this proves, because they said this at the end of the episode. This proves that ski lift cables, in fact, are razor sharp, and somehow managed to ignore anything in the episode that would go contrary to that claim. Like, it's so sad because he seems like a nice guy, but his entire review on Frozen is 100% like, I really like this movie, and that's it. You know, he's looking for ways to justify his liking for the film, and there's nothing wrong with liking it, but there is something a little wrong with saying that the criticisms for the film are illegitimate, which is definitely what the director is saying, and by proxy, this other reviewer literally just regurgitated everything the director said, and is basically saying the same thing. Like, the whole last minute of his review is like, the director really hates it when people criticize his films. I also hate it when people criticize his film. Paraphrasing, obviously. They had this like whole fantasy, like, the director said, I would love to put real people in that situation and see how they are, see how long they live. I kind of agree too. It was just like, I don't know. You're at liberty to like a film. There's nothing wrong with having taste that's different from somebody else, but it kind of goes an extra layer when you're stretching the facts and ignoring facts to try and fit a narrative, to try and prove how great a film is, or try and prove that any criticism against a particular film you like is somehow illegitimate. You know, the director is already a little crazy for doing it, and obviously I'll illustrate it here. It is a little unfortunate timing for the other reviewer, because if they saw my review of it, then maybe they wouldn't have been so forward in their opinion on their review. Because now it's like my review just makes them look stupid, which is not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to make them look stupid. I'm not trying to pick fights. You know, I just want to be everybody's friend. But I have to address these claims now because the review exists. So it's a little unfortunate. But, yeah, what can you do?
The only thing this Mythbusters episode proves is that jeans are not designed to be used in this way.
Using your clothing to escape a ski lift, bad idea. Either the clothing is gonna rip, or your arms are gonna give out.
So zipline jeans escape. Busted.
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 I think the problem
Busted.
Busted.
I think the problem with that reviewer, even though he's made some great videos
Busted.
on
Busted.
like what happened to PG-13, like I like that video, you know, it's very informative. The problem with his like individual film reviews is that he loves things way too much, and he's not critical, and he's not skeptical in like any sense. He just loves everything sort of guy, you know? Like, he's willing to give anything the benefit of the doubt, and he's not willing to like he's not the type of person to look at a film and try to think of things that could be improved, or try to view it critically, which is what I feel like a critic should do, is be critical. I don't think he's very critical. He definitely writes love letters to things that he likes, but he's not very critical, and that would be my one criticism of his reviews.
Zipline jeans escape. Busted.
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 But yeah, there's no way avoiding it, you know, like, people are gonna know what I'm doing when I include this clip.
Using your clothing to escape a ski lift.
And there's no way I can't include it, because I have to address it.
bad idea. Either the clothing is gonna rip, or your arms are gonna give out.
So zipline jeans escape. Busted.
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 Do I believe that your stuntman scratched up his Do I believe Do I believe that your stuntman scratched up his gloves a little? Yes, especially with how he's moving them across the cable. Do I believe that the cable is as razor sharp as you are claiming it is? No. And just so we're clear on how dramatically over-exaggerated this director's claims are, there's another aspect to this film that
All right, so we're at the 9-minute mark. How much is in this part? Okay, we got 32:30 to 38:30. So that's a good 6 minutes after the 9-minute mark. So, assuming that we end after this part, this could theoretically turn into 7 minutes. So this could be a 15-minute video in of itself if I end it right there. And then how much do we have left over? $40, $38, $50, $20. That's 10 minutes right there, and then a minute here. It's 11 minutes. I don't know what it's going to turn into, so I'm probably going to have to finish both parts, if it's 2 parts, before I can release part 2. I'm probably going to have to finish part 3 before I release part 2, if it's going to be 2 and 3. Which doesn't seem unreasonable, because, I mean, I don't know, the whole outro and credits at the end of the review is, usually a couple minutes, so that'll add something on to part 3, I guess.
Busted.
Do I believe that your stuntman scratched up his gloves a little? Yes, especially
Because there are tons of clips that I have to include. Look at all this shit. Look at all this shit that I sectioned off. Ignore these big ones, I guess. But, like, all this. Like, this is all stuff that, like, I plan on including in some form. A lot of it. Especially, oh, God. Oh, my God. This part might be pretty long, because there's a lot of shit that... like, 50... This'll be definitely over 15 minutes by the time I finish that part. It might be up to 20 minutes. It might be. Oh, my God. Awesome, Jellycats.
Busted.
Busted.
way.
Using your clothing to escape a ski lift, bad idea. Either the clothing is gonna rip, or your arms are gonna give out.
So zipline jeans escape. Busted.
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 Do I believe that your stuntman scratched up his gloves a little?
Stunt footage. Where did it go? I may have deleted it. I might have to go back to a previous save. Alternatively, I can just do that thing I did before. Actually, I'm done with the Mythbusters footage. I can just delete that. That saves some space. And we got commentaries and featurettes. And then here, here we go. Around the 3-something minute mark, we get to see how this fucking stuntman, fuckboy, is climbing, and it's really weird and awkward. This is already converted, so I guess I don't have to do anything.
He's like a superhero, and like, oh, even if it fell, he'd catch him at like the last second. Like nothing bad will happen if he's here, which is funny that you feel safe if you have the guy who's victim.
All right, here's the footage. With how the stuntman is doing it, he's literally like grinding his gloves against the cable, so I can understand if his gloves ripped a little after doing it however many times. But they didn't rip through his gloves in the way that the character in your movie experienced that. Look, he didn't go very far at all. Which is okay, because, I mean, it's terrifying. Although you are a stuntman, I mean, maybe you should get a better stuntman.
And we're cut.
Whenever Kane said, you know, this is safe, everybody on the set just went, okay.
And you also have this sort of misconception, sort of, that he's like a superhero, and like, oh, even if it fell, he'd catch him at like the last second, like nothing bad will happen.
Do I believe that your stuntman scratched up his gloves a little? Yes, especially with how he's moving them across the cable. Do I believe?
Yeah, I think he has a wire anyway. Maybe. He probably has a wire. I don't know. I can't see it.
Do I believe that your stuntman scratched up his gloves a little? Yes, especially with how he's moving them across the cable. Do I believe that the cable is gloves a little? Yes. As razor sharp. Do I believe that the cable? Do I believe? Especially with how he's moving them across the cable. Do I believe that the? Do I believe?
Let's try that. It's almost 2 in the morning. I think I'm gonna go to bed. Not because I can't stay up any longer, but because I got shit to do in the morning. I want to try and see if I can get a really good deal on a tenor saxophone or a clarinet, or maybe both, depending on how cheap they are. Because I would love to add those into my album, and there's a music store that is doing a gigantic sale because they're moving locations or something, and everything must go. So I'm gonna try and show up and see if there's some good deals, I guess.
Up his gloves a little? Yes, especially with how he's moving them across the cable. Do I believe that the cable? Especially with how he's moving them across the cable. Across the cable. Them across the cable.
We're Pacific time, boys.
Oh, yes, especially with how he's moving them across the cable. Do I believe that cable across the cable? Do I believe he's moving them across the cable? Yes, especially with how he's moving them across the cable. Do I believe that?
Busted.
Do I believe that your stuntman scratched up his gloves a little? Yes, especially with how he's moving them across the cable. Do I believe that the
Goodbye, Mad Brad. I don't know how to play those instruments, but I think I can pick them up. I think I can just buy them and watch YouTube and figure it out.
Especially with how he's moving them across the cable. Do I believe?
I genuinely believe that.
The cable. Do I?
Based on me already knowing like 10 different instruments and how I've learned them, etc. I have a pretty good ear for music. I have a pretty good feel for it.
I believe that the cable is as razor sharp as you are claiming it.
All right. I think I'm gonna end this. Probably should, just for my own good. As a way to end the stream, I will make sure that I have an extra copy made. I don't know when I started, like 7 p.m. or something. That's a good. Oh fuck! I was already editing way earlier today. I worked way more than 8 hours today, didn't I? Because that was like 7 hours alone just for the stream. I was working before that too. Oops. Well, anyway, everybody have a fantastic night. I will see you guys. I might do some of this tomorrow. I don't know. The music store is gonna happen first, I guess, early morning. I'm gonna try and just wake up for that. Won't get a full night's sleep because of this. But I mean, anyway, can't wait to have this video out. I'll be getting it out before month end, it seems. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. Love you guys. See you later. Bye-bye.